Willie D live.
What's up, family? Did you know that 71% of US citizens consume little to no international news at all, while 47% consume about 30 minutes a day, and 24% consume none at all? Why am I talking about this? Because Americans tend to presume that the world revolves around America. Like the world is bigger than America. Sometimes it takes you to get on a plane, go somewhere else, and see for yourself. I know it's easy when everybody's so concerned about what's going on in America, and we have so much opportunity here in America, so much to do. But the world is bigger than America, and the world does not revolve around America. America revolves around the world. Get that through your skull. So what's going on right now, fam, is that when Trump decided to attack Iran, well, actually, this actually started before Trump attacked Iran, but that had a lot to do with it also. But when he started going on this rampage about he's going to, levy tariffs against all of these countries, and it's America first, and just being real outspoken about it, right? Being really outspoken about it. Then he goes in and he invades Venezuela. Then he drops a bomb starts dropping missiles on Iran. The world starts to take notice even more. But I'm going to tell you when they really, really started getting a little nervous. They started getting nervous when America allowed Russia to go in on Ukraine, and they did nothing. They rolled the fence. They straddled the fence. They gave up some weapons, and they gave some aid, while at the same time over here being diplomatic to or with Russia. So what happened? The rest of Europe primarily, and the rest of the world started to rearm themselves because they could no longer rely on America's protection. These countries started saying, you know what? We got to refortify ourselves or fortify ourselves for the first time. We cannot rely on America because America, you see what they're allowing to happen in the Ukraine. And then you go to visit this dude and they ambush you and start threatening you. You see? Remember what happened to Zelensky when he went to the White House and spoke with Trump, and J.D. Vance and Trump ambushed him, had him like a deer in the headlight. So these other countries are starting to say, well, I'm not going to put myself in that position. And then Trump even started talking about going after Canada. Canada was like, you know what? No longer will the United States receive 90% of our war budget. No longer will they receive 90% of our military budget. We are going to start outsourcing somewhere else. We're going to start looking for those services somewhere else because we do not want to be dependent on America for protection or even to purchase weapons. We don't want to rely on America because it's almost like it's almost like it took Trump to make everybody realize that it took this overt bully to make everybody realize that America itself is the bully, and America has been the world's bully for decades. It's been the world's bully for a long, long time. And the rest of the world is just coming around to see that. So they are rearming themselves. They are fortifying themselves just in case. Europe nations are actively rearming themselves and they're seeking defense independence. They do not want to rely any longer on the United States. No longer are they viewing the U.S. as a reliable security guarantor. They're like, hey, nah, man, no, we got to get out of here and do our own thing. These European nations are now actively seeking autonomy. They want to do their own thing. They're seeking strategic autonomy. Some of the nations are responding to U.S. trade policies, such as tariffs, with their own economic measures, while others leverage trade agreements to compete. And then you have the increasing, though unpublicized, public displeasure in various countries regarding U.S. foreign policy, such as support for Israel and a growing trend of boycotting American products and brands associated with controversial figures like Donald Trump. You dig? And then you got nations like Russia, China, and Iran who are strengthening their alliances. Yeah, they're developing alternative financial and trade systems to directly challenge U.S. economic and conventional power. How did all this happen? I mean, the United States was in such good graces, with the rest of the world, and everybody was looking at the United States as the peacemakers. This is like Big Brother. Big Brother gonna take care of. Big Brother gonna make sure that if there's any fighting and little disputes and stuff going on, Big Brother gonna come in and save the day. He gonna break the fight up and try to figure out some type of resolution. But Big Brother is now decided that he wants to pounce and punch down on little brother and little sister. Because, Big Brother don't really like women. He don't like females. He like them, but not like that. So the international observers, they have been bewildered by Donald Trump's actions as of late. They're like, they don't trust this dude. They don't know what he's going to do next. He's totally, he's irrational. He's a wild card. They don't know what's coming next from him. So these other countries are like, you know what, man, we got to get right. We got to get right for self. When I was living overseas, I saw it for myself, how watching foreign news differs from watching domestic news. Even when Barack Obama was running for president, Sky News was one of the biggest news agencies. And I know they got their propaganda just like CNN got its propaganda, right? But I'm watching Sky News and they're showing all of these little kids in Europe, in different countries throughout Europe, who are chiming in on their favorite for president. These are young kids, probably between the ages of maybe 8 and 15, right? Young kids chiming in on who they like. And they were like, who's your favorite? Barack Obama or John McCain? And they'd be like, 8 or 9 kids in a row might say Barack Obama, Barack Obama, Barack Obama. And then one kid will be like, McCain. That's how it was. And Sky News wasn't the only one that reported that. They had other news agencies that were doing the same thing. And the majority of these kids were saying that they had the kids in a group, big group, right? And they would just randomly ask these kids, all of these different kids, what their thoughts were. And, invariably, no matter what country it was, they said Barack Obama or McCain. 8 or 9 kids, Barack. 8 or 9 kids, Obama. 1 kid, McCain. You couldn't find that on one news outlet in America, point blank, period. You couldn't find it. Even if you went to a so-called blue state, you wouldn't have found that. You could have went to a blue city. You could have went to a blue neighborhood and let the press report it, and you wouldn't have found something like that. Because the press in the U.S., mainstream media, is in cahoots with the U.S. government. We know, fam, I know sometimes we see these fights publicly play out. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, they're all on the same team. They're all in the same club, all of them. The media has always played a significant role in shaping public opinion. And you got to think to yourself, why would the government allow them to do that unless the government approved of it? Because the government could shut down media like that, could shut it down. You see some of that happening right now with Trump, and even his wife now calling for the dismissal of Jimmy Kimmel, telling ABC and Disney, hey, get rid of him or we're going to get rid of y'all. You did? So it's, in my opinion, it's incumbent upon all of us to seek the truth, not just hear what we want to hear. That's why I don't actively listen to any of the news stations. All of the mainstream news stations, I don't actively listen to any of them, because even when I'm hearing stuff that I want to hear, I still don't watch them, because I know at the end of the day, they're still all bought and paid for. They're still in cahoots. It's kind of like what they do is they'll put out news stories that they know, depending on what their audience is, they're going to put out news stories to relate to their audience. And they try to come off as they're fair and that they're balanced. But behind the scenes, they're picking and choosing which stories don't get aired. See, don't trip on the ones that you see. It's the news stories that you don't see them covering. Those are the stories that you need to be concerned about, because when they cover a story, at least, you can draw your own conclusion as they tell the story, and you can kind of sniff out the lies. But it's the stories that they don't tell. Those are the ones you need to be concerned about the most. Now, Fox News, we know what Fox is. Fox News makes no promises. They do not try to pretend whatsoever that they're fair and balanced. They're totally one-sided. They don't even try to hide it. But the rest of them, they ain't no different. They're just sneaky with it. And they pick and choose the stories that they want to put out there, just like Fox do. But they just try to front. They front like they're for the people and like they're being fair and impartial, but they're really not. It's kind of like Democrats versus Republicans. Republicans are racist, but I dare say that the Democrats got damn near as many racists as the Republicans have. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talking.